The BBC cancelled Boris Johnson's interview after the Laura Kuenssberg message gaffe. I'm going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline, The BBC cancelled Boris Johnson's interview after Laura Kuenssberg's message gaffe. The briefing notes mistakenly being sent to the ex-Prime Minister meant it was not right for the interview to go ahead, says the presenter. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. You know what? When this story came out, I was like, do you know what the first thing came to my mind is? Like, why are people surprised by this? Like, literally, why are people surprised by this? Like, we know that Laura Kuenssberg has a soft spot for Boris Johnson. She's always had a soft spot for Boris Johnson. We know it with every single goddamn interview. We know that. They literally have each other's numbers. We're not stupid. We know that. And Boris Johnson's given the questions ahead of time. Like, that's not proper journalism. This is definitely somebody who needs to be kicked to the curb. Like, as of right now, the time of this recording, I don't know if she's been suspended or whatnot, but she should not be in her role. People have already said Victoria Derbyshire is so much better than Laura Kuenssberg. So much better at holding ministers' accounts. Does she always get it right? No, but she's a hell of a lot better than Laura Kuenssberg. Laura Kuenssberg she's so biased, always hard on Labour, always hard on other politicians. But when it comes to the Conservatives, she's a softbally when it comes to the Conservatives. She couldn't be more biased. She needs to go. For a long time, she's always been that. For a long time, she has been that. And this story, I don't know why, like, everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe that Laura Kuenssberg's giving Boris Johnson a message. And then here's the other thing, right? It makes me wonder just how many journalists are doing the same thing as what Laura's doing with other politicians now. To make it look like, that it's going to be even more, to make it more entertainment value. Sometimes I think these are, maybe perhaps they try to make them a bit more entertainment value rather than actually some seriousness as well. Do you think that? Like, so that they can get a good ratings pot for the interviews as well. It does raise that prospects as well, don't you? But yeah, that Laura Kuenssberg should not have any more interviews with Boris Johnson. She should be suspended. Absolutely, because she's basically showing that her bias. Even though we already know that she's biased, because every time the Tories were getting trashed or a bad story would come up, she would try to alleviate, try to play down, or try to use some kind of excuse to cover them up or whatever. But whenever it was a story about Labour, she was going hard on it. When she was talking to a Labour politician, she was going hard on them. Lib Dems, Greens, she would always go hard on them. But the Conservatives, no, soft spot. She's a problem. She's a problem for the BBC. She needs to go. I know there are some other journalists out there who are bad, but the platform that she has, for me, she's a conflict of interest in due partiality for broadcasting. She's not partial. That's the problem. Now, I know that no mainstream politician is perfect. I know they're not all perfect. I know that everyone has their flaws and whatnot. But her ideals and her position is very, very clear, and it's been very, very clear for a very long time. If the BBC had any balls, they would do anything, but at the time of this recording, I don't expect them to. So the BBC has cancelled a primetime interview with Boris Johnson after the presenter Laura Kuenssberg accidentally sent the former Prime Minister her briefing notes. Kuenssberg said that she sent Johnson the notes in a message meant for my team. The former BBC political editor said it was embarrassing and disappointing, adding that the errors meant it was not right for the interview to go ahead. Again, I don't buy this for 1 second that she sent it in error. I generally believe she sent it to him. I don't buy this at all. Due to be broadcast on 7:30 p.m. on Thursday on BBC One, it was being billed as Johnson's first major interview since leaving office. He was expected to discuss Brexit, his government's handling of the COVID pandemic, and the Partygate scandal. And we know that Laura would have covered for him either way. Other broadcasters and podcasters offered to do the interview in Kuenssberg Place, and Mick called for the BBC to use another journalist. Those volunteering on X to conduct the interview included former Sky's political editor Adam Boulton, Tony Blair's former director of communications Alastair Campbell, and Channel 4 presenter Cathy Newman, and Krishnan Guru-Murthy. Salta Kawana, director of Think Tank for British Future, also urged the BBC to find a replacement to conduct the interview. Shouldn't the BBC just get someone else to do the interview on Friday or next week? He said on X. No, it has to be Laura. Laura is our flagship person. Johnson, who was Prime Minister from 2019 to 2022, has a memoir Unleashed being published next week. Kuenssberg previously investigated the government in a Panorama episode, Partygate Inside the Storm, and looked back at the recent Conservative years in a 3-part BBC 2 series called Laura Kuenssberg's State of Chaos. In a post on X on Wednesday evening, Kuenssberg, while prepping my interview with Boris Johnson, by mistake I sent out briefing notes to him in a message meant for my team that obviously meant it's not right for the interview to go ahead. It's very frustrating. There's no point pretending it's anything other than embarrassing and disappointing, as there are plenty of other important questions to be asked, but red face aside, honestly, this is the best policy. See you on Sunday. A BBC spokesperson was reported saying that innovative move made the interview untenable, and that both the BBC and Johnson's team had agreed to cancel it. A spokesperson for Johnson declined to comment. Well, I appreciate the fact that she's come out of it, but I don't buy for 1 second that this isn't normal for her in any way, shape, or form. I don't buy it for a second. I really don't. I generally think. Do you know what I generally think? I think she's done that to try and make herself look a little bit more saving grace for people. I don't, because I don't buy this whatsoever from her. She's decided to come out and tell people about it. She posted on X saying about it. No, I'm not buying that this was accidental. No, I don't buy it at all. Well, people can disagree with me down in the comments below, but no, there shouldn't be any more interviews between the two. She's had too close a relationship with the former Prime Minister, as far as I'm concerned. I think she's too problematic, in my opinion. There are much better ones out there, and they could have gotten an easy replacement without a shadow of a doubt. But there you go, guys. So what do you guys honestly think about the situation? What do you guys make of Laura Kuenssberg message gaffe? Do you honestly think there's some truth to it? Do you actually think that maybe she's actually a good journalist and maybe she was right to do it publicly? Or do you agree with me that she's no different than some of the other shills? Let me know your thoughts and more down in the comments section below. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.